about Manchester United, because it looks like we could see a flurry of activity before the deadline. I mean, probably, Dan, the most surprising, though, of them all is that man behind you, Kobbie Mainoo. Are you surprised we're even sat here talking about him potentially leaving Manchester United?
Well, yeah, I mean, I heard he got linked with Real Madrid today. I don't see that. I really like him. I think he's a really good player. When he broke into the team, he was fantastic, and it was probably this academy graduate coming in is going to be sort of the saviour for Man U in that midfield. It just hasn't quite happened under Ruben Amorim. For a few reasons, really. Obviously, Casemiro's there. He's on a long contract, big wages. He's playing. They spent huge amounts of money on him. They've dropped Fernandes down as well. But again, it's the legs issue in midfield. I don't believe Kobbie can get about the pitch as much as a Carlos Baleba, say. But I do really like him technically. I think he can add something to that team. But again, playing him and Casemiro together, it doesn't work. Him and Bruno probably doesn't work. So yeah, it's a huge issue for Manchester United.
Ruben Amorim, Ruben Amorim's come out and basically said he's almost Bruno Fernandes' position. This isn't that long ago that he was starting for Man United, scoring the winning goal in an FA Cup, starting for England in a Euro final. So, and when you look at Manchester United's options in midfield, they don't have a lot. But is the problem that he feels like he is Bruno Fernandes' position?
That's what Ruben Amorim feels. Initially, when Amorim came in, Mainoo got a lot of opportunities. But we saw in the second half of last season, when he came back from injury, he didn't feature at all, really, in the latter stages of the Europa League. He got that really important goal against Lyon, which got them through to the semi-finals, but didn't feature much at all. He came on with 1 minute to go in the final against Tottenham. And as you say, Amorim reiterated the fact that he is seen as the deputy to Bruno Fernandes. And Bruno Fernandes started all but 5 of the 60 matches United played last season. And he's set to predominantly play in midfield now because you've got Cunha and Mbeumo. We wait to see whether that changes based on how United perform in the first few games of this season. But Dan mentioned it there, and mobility is seen as the main issue for Kobbie Mainoo in terms of playing that role alongside Bruno Fernandes. You could argue Casemiro doesn't have the mobility that Mainoo does, but it's seen as he isn't that player to play alongside Bruno. But I think Amorim has built up a lot of credit with United fans, despite the fact the results have gone against him. With the Marcus Rashford situation, they've supported him. With the Alejandro Garnacho situation, they've supported him. I think it'll be really difficult if Kobbie Mainoo departs the football club, because there's a real connection between United fans and the academy. And if he departs, then there's a real danger that you won't be in a situation where Manchester United go into a match day with an academy graduate in the team. And it's a proud record that United have. It's gone back to 1937. It's a run of 4,323 games. If Mainoo departs, then that is under real risk. And it's something which United are very proud of. I'm not saying that's the reason you keep Kobbie Mainoo, but it would be really disappointing. I think United fans would find it hard to stomach if Kobbie Mainoo, albeit he's not an important part of the squad at the moment, is to depart.
Yeah, it does feel like there is still a big part to play for Kobbie Mainoo in that Manchester United midfield, but we will wait to see what happens with him. Anthony is the next one to discuss, James. It looks like Real Betis might get him permanently.
Yeah, this is a slight change in approach. I don't think Real Betis have a huge amount of money to play with this summer, and so they were always pushing for a loan with an option to buy. But Manchester United, because of the amount of money they've spent on Anthony, and because he was on loan there last season, they want to be in a situation where they sanction a permanent exit and bring some money back in. United haven't been great at selling players over the course of the last few years. They weren't even great at selling players under Sir Alex Ferguson. It's something they really want to get much better at. He's had lots of different offers. There's been interest from the Saudi Pro League. There was links with going to Bayer Leverkusen, where Erik ten Hag is. Erik ten Hag sanctioned the transfer for United for Anthony to become the second most expensive signing in United's history. But it does look like a permanent deal could be done here. They've made clear in negotiations, United, that a straight loan simply isn't going to be what they're looking for right now. So it does look like he could return to Betis, and it could end what has been clearly a very disappointing chapter for Anthony at United. I think he's ready for the move as well.
Yeah, it feels like a couple of other players could be ready for a move. Those are Rasmus Højlund, Jadon Sancho and Alejandro Garnacho. Man United just are in a position now where they really just need to get, especially, I suppose, Garnacho and Sancho out of the club. Yeah, especially them two. Rasmus has obviously just come up recently. Still not sure why Newcastle haven't gone for Rasmus Højlund, to be honest. A loan move for the year. I think 23, still loads of room for development. In spells, he's done all right for United. He's been playing in a poor United team the last probably 1-2 years, which has found himself unlucky in that situation.
With Sancho, yes, he needs to leave for the good of his career. There's one or two European clubs sniffing around for him, but not sure what he actually wants. And then Garnacho, it's looking like Chelsea, or it has been looking like Chelsea. There might be a surprise in the last few days of the window, but it's looking like Chelsea. And yeah, they've sold one or two players last week, Chelsea. So yeah, that looks to be getting tied up probably a few days.
Yeah, interesting to see if Gianluigi Donnarumma ends up in the Premier League. James, Alejandro Garnacho, touched on him briefly. I think he's made it pretty clear that he just only wants Chelsea, but currently the clubs are quite far apart in valuation. But I mean, if he stays at Man United, then what?
I think we'll get a compromise on this over the course of the next few days. United want £50 million. Chelsea believe he's probably worth around half of that because of the situation he's in at Manchester United. Frozen out, not on the first team picture. I know Ruben Amorim says that players will be reintegrated if they don't get a move, but that feels like a negotiation tactic. But Chelsea are in a situation where they will only make more signings if players depart for good money. And Chelsea have sold really well this summer, but they are faced with that UEFA restriction whereby they need to make a profit coming out this transfer window. So if they can get good money for Nkunku and Jackson, then I'd expect them to hit the push button on the deals for the likes of Xavi Simons and Garnacho. Garnacho remains committed to Chelsea. It looks like he only wants Chelsea. Chelsea's probably on his mind since January when it became clear that he's a long-term target for Chelsea. I do think it will happen. There'll have to be compromises from Manchester United when it comes to fee, as there will have to be compromise with Chelsea when it comes to the fees they're going to get for the likes of Nkunku and Jackson, who clearly aren't part of the first-team picture, and others as well.
Instability has plagued Manchester United in a post-Sir Alex Ferguson landscape, and that has been keenly felt at the goalkeeper position in recent years. They once had one of the world's best in David de Gea, but his demise meant few batted an eye when the club moved on in 2023. The future was Andre Onana, a signing met with widespread acclaim, but the Cameroonian, like so many who have opted for pastures new at Old Trafford, has struggled to meet expectations. Onana's 2 years at Man United have been plagued by inconsistency, and some would argue he hasn't yet recovered from a shaky start. As a result, United entered 2025-26 with further questions between the posts, although it's evident that the fallible Altay Bender is no Onana usurper. The club are set to add another to their ranks in the form of 23-year-old Belgian Sen Lammen, known by very few before the United links emerged. There's a sense that the Red Devils are merely taking a punt, but there's reason to believe Lammen could perhaps provide stiff competition for Onana. Here's how the two goalkeepers compare in several key areas. Onana started poorly at Man United, but he turned things around during his debut season, eventually finishing with 9 clean sheets, a figure he matched last season. He also finished 2023-24 with the 5th most goals prevented in the Premier League, 2.7, per FB Ref. Onana, overall, is an athletic and explosive goalkeeper who is capable of pulling off the spectacular, as he proved with a pair of double saves at the start of last season against Crystal Palace and Fenerbahce. He can be a great shot stopper, but an oscillation in confidence has allowed for routine errors to creep into his game. The Cameroonian has struggled for consistency in Manchester, and last season, he ranked 18th in the Premier League with just 1.0 goals prevented. His save percentage also dipped from 74.9% to 68.9%. Lammen, meanwhile, had an excellent 2024-25 campaign for a Royal Antwerp side that finished 5th in the Belgian Pro League. The 23-year-old ended the season with an 81.4% save percentage and a staggering 14.5 goals prevented. No goalkeeper made more saves than Lammen in Belgium last season, and has already been earmarked as Thibaut Courtois' successor in the national team. The 6 feet 6 inches Bender is a great example of height not equating to aerial dominance. At 6 feet 4 inches, Lammen is an imposing presence and 3 inches taller than Onana. The data also points towards an assured goalkeeper when the ball is delivered into his box. Over the past year, Lammen ranks in the 99th percentile of all goalkeepers competing outside of Europe's top 5 leagues,